The basement secret. Jack Miller moved into his new house on a cold, quiet morning. It was small, old, and far from the city, but it was cheap. He wanted peace, a new start, and maybe some answers about life. The house stood at the end of a narrow road with trees all around it. It looked abandoned, but Jack liked the silence. He had no family, no friends in this town, and no one to ask questions. The first 2 days were normal. He cleaned the dust, fixed a few lights, and unpacked his bags. But on the third night, something strange happened. He was lying on his bed when he heard a sound. A soft voice, coming from the basement. It said one word, only one. Jack. He sat up, heart beating fast. He thought it was his imagination. But then the voice came. Again, clearer. Jack, you're finally home. He grabbed his flashlight. The house was supposed to be empty. No one else had keys. He walked slowly toward the basement door. Each step felt heavier than the last. He opened the door and looked down into the dark, cold basement. The air smelled old, like whetstone. Dust floated in the light from the flashlight. Jack stepped down carefully, 1, 2, 3 steps. Then he saw something in the corner. Sitting on the floor was a woman. Her skin was pale, almost glowing. Her eyes were bright silver. Not like any human eyes. She looked calm, not afraid. She smiled when she saw Jack. I missed you, she said. It's been a long time. Jack froze. He wanted to run, but something about her kept him there. Her voice was soft and kind, like someone who knew him. Who are you? He asked. She stood up slowly. I'm your wife, she said. You just don't remember me. Jack laughed nervously. That's impossible, he said. I've never seen you before. She walked closer but stayed a few steps away. I know it's hard to believe, she said. They took your memory. They? Jack asked, confused. The people who did this to you, she replied. The ones who made you forget. She reached into a small box beside her. Inside were photos, old and faded. She handed one to Jack. It showed him, standing with her. Smiling, he looked younger and happier. But he didn't remember this photo. He didn't remember her. Jack felt cold all over. Is this a trick? He asked. No, she said. You and I lived here once, in this same house before it was erased. Why would someone erase my memory? Jack said, shaking his head. Because you knew something, she replied. Something powerful, something they wanted to hide. Jack looked around the basement. The walls had strange symbols carved into them, not like anything he had seen before. He touched one, and it gave off a slight glow. What is this place? He whispered. It's more than a house, she said. It's a gateway. He turned to her, heart racing. Gateway to what? To the truth, she said. And the truth is, they're coming back tonight. Jack stepped back. Who is coming? The ones who took you, she said. They never stopped watching. I stayed hidden here, waiting for you to return. But now that you're back, they'll know. Jack felt like the floor was moving under his feet. Everything was happening too fast. You expect me to believe all this? She looked at him, eyes full of pain and hope. No, she said. I just want you to listen and survive. He heard a sound above them, like a small vibration. His phone lost signal. The lights flickered. Something had changed. Something was already here. The woman took his hand. We don't have much time, she whispered. You can leave now and forget again. Or you can stay and remember everything. Jack looked at her strange face, her kind eyes, and the photo still in his hand. He had come here looking for peace, but maybe he had found the truth instead, and the truth was waiting in the dark. Asterisk, she knows everything about him. Jack didn't sleep that night. He sat in the living room, watching the basement door. The woman was still down there. She said she was his wife. She said he had forgotten her. But Jack didn't forget people. He was always good with faces, yet something about her felt real. Her voice, her eyes, the way she spoke like she had known him forever. At sunrise, Jack went downstairs again. She was sitting on the floor, waiting, calm. I made tea, she said. Handing him a cup, Jack took it. Still unsure why he hadn't called the police, he sat across from her. What's your name? He asked. She smiled. My name is Alira, she said. It used to be your favorite name. Jack took a sip of the tea. It tasted like mint and something else he couldn't name. Tell me the truth, he said. All of it. Alira nodded. You're not who you think you are, she said. You were born human, yes, but something changed you. Jack frowned. What do you mean? She pulled a small device from her pocket. It looked like a crystal with light moving inside it. When she touched it, a glowing screen appeared. Photos, voice messages, and even a short video clip. Jack saw himself laughing, working with strange machines. And Alira was beside him in every clip. They looked like a couple in love. I don't remember any of this, Jack whispered. Because they wiped it from you, she said. You were part of something bigger, something dangerous. Jack stood up and backed away. I'm just a guy, he said. I work at a coffee shop. I don't even like sci-fi. You say that now, Alira replied. But before the wipe, you built things. You solved alien tech. You helped me escape. Jack felt dizzy. Everything she said sounded crazy. But every time she spoke, he felt something inside him stir, like a memory trying to wake up. Do you know my birthday? He asked suddenly. October 17th, she said. Instantly, you hate cake but love cinnamon rolls. Jack blinked. That's true, he whispered. You broke your arm at 12, she continued. Fell from a tree trying to impress a girl. You told everyone you fought a raccoon. Jack stared at her. I never told anyone that story. You told me, Alira said, smiling. When we first kissed, under the second moon. Jack paused. Second moon? Alira looked up at him. We weren't on Earth when we met. Suddenly, a loud knock came from the front door upstairs. Boom, boom. 3 knocks, heavy and slow. Jack jumped. Alira's face went pale. They found us, she whispered. You have to choose now, run and forget, or stay and fight for the truth. Jack moved to the stairs, but stopped halfway. Something in him didn't want to run. Not this time. He looked at Alira. If I believe you, what do I do now? You unlock what they hid inside you, she said, and you help stop them from doing it again. Stop who? Alira looked toward the ceiling, where dust fell with every knock. The ones who think humans are better off blind. Boom, boom. The front door creaked. Do you have a weapon? Jack asked, voice shaking. You used to be one, Alira replied, standing beside him. Jack felt heat in his chest. His hands started to tremble, not in fear, but in energy. Something inside him was waking up. A glow under his skin, a memory. Trying to push through, and then he saw it. A flash in his mind of another world. Of stars, of Alira calling his name not in fear, but in love. He had been someone else before. Someone strong. Someone who fought back. The final knock came, louder than before. Jack's eyes turned bright silver for just a second. He didn't notice it, but Alira did. She smiled softly. You're coming back, she whispered, and the door upstairs slowly began to open. Clues in the walls. The lights didn't just flicker, they pulsed. Like the house was breathing. Jack stood still, his hands glowing faintly, his heart racing. The door above them was wide open now. But no one stepped inside. Only silence, thick and strange, filled the space. Alira moved first. She whispered. The scan failed. They don't know you're waking up yet. Jack blinked. What scan? She didn't answer, just grabbed a screwdriver from a drawer and handed it to him. There's something inside the walls, she said. You put it there. They walked upstairs together. Jack still felt dizzy, like his body was adjusting to something ancient, something not normal. Every shadow felt like it was watching. He touched the wall near the hallway mirror. His hand buzzed with a soft warmth. This spot, he said quietly. He didn't know how he knew, but his fingers found a small mark hidden in the paint. A triangle, barely visible. He pressed it. The wall clicked. Behind the wallpaper was a secret panel. Inside it, a notebook, a small glowing stone, and an old photograph. Jack opened the notebook. It was written in his own handwriting, but he didn't remember writing it. There were symbols, maps, and codes, words like control room, anchor memory, and Project Hollow Thread. He turned to the last page. It read, "If you're reading this, they didn't win. Illyra is your only safe link. Trust the walls. They remember more than you do." Jack touched the photo. It was him and Illyra, standing beside a large machine. He looked different, older, but stronger. There was a second man in the photo, his face scratched out. "Who's that?" he asked. Illyra looked at it. Her face darkened. "He betrayed you," she said softly. "He's the one who started the wipe." Jack closed the notebook and looked at the glowing stone. It felt warm in his hand. The moment he touched it, he saw flashes, visions of machines, a lab, running, hiding, shouting Illyra's name. His nose bled slightly. "It's starting to return," Illyra said, helping him sit. "Your brain is waking up the neural link." Suddenly, the hallway light exploded. Sparks flew across the wooden floor. Jack stood up fast, heart pounding. "We have to move," Illyra said. "They'll send a proxy drone soon." Jack grabbed the notebook and the stone. "Is this all real?" he asked again. "I mean, how can I forget a life like this?" "Because forgetting was the only way to survive," she replied. "You weren't just hunted. Jack, you were marked." They moved to the next wall, his old bedroom. Jack's body led the way, like muscle memory from a life he didn't know. He found another triangle near the window, pressed it. A second compartment opened inside. Wires, circuits, and a small device blinking red. "What is that?" "It's a signal jammer," Illyra said. "You made it to block the trackers. But it only works in parts, like pieces of a puzzle. Each wall hides a piece." Jack knelt down. He could feel something inside him shifting his thoughts. "We're faster," his hands steadier, like he had done this all before. He looked at Illyra. "Why me?" "Because you're human," she said simply. "And in this war, that makes you dangerous." There was another knock, but this time, not from the door. It came from inside the wall, slow, scratching, tapping. Jack and Illyra froze. Then a voice whispered. A robotic voice, cold, broken. "Subject 9. Detected error, memory spike. Reset recommended." The wall started to crack. Jack stepped back as a mechanical hand punched through the plaster. Silver and black metal, moving like liquid. A drone, but not like any drone he had seen before. It was searching, scanning, reaching. Illyra pulled him out of the room. "Time's up," she said. "You have to leave the house." "But the rest of the puzzle, we can finish it later," she said. "If we survive this night." Jack looked back one last time. The machine inside the wall turned its head toward him. Its red eye blinked, and for a second, Jack saw something familiar in it. Like a face hidden deep inside the metal, like someone he once knew. The drone spoke one last time. "Hello, Jack," it said. "I've missed you too. Asterisk, the government is watching." The drone didn't chase them, it just watched. Its red eye blinked slowly as Jack and Illyra escaped through the back door. The cold night wrapped around them, quiet and deep. But something felt wrong, like the sky itself was listening. They ran through the trees behind the house. The wind whispered through the leaves. Jack held the notebook and glowing stone close to his chest. He didn't know where they were going. He just followed Illyra. She stopped near an old shed hidden behind thick bushes. She pulled out a metal disc from her coat and pressed it against the shed's lock. With a soft hum, the door opened. Inside was a dark tunnel going deep underground. "We built this," Illyra said. "You and I. When we first came here." Jack didn't ask questions anymore. He was too deep to turn back. They walked into the tunnel, the door closing behind them. As they moved forward, lights on the wall turned on one by one. The tunnel was clean, quiet, and full of hidden machines. Screens showed maps, numbers, and strange satellite signals. Jack stared at one of the monitors. It showed a live feed of his own house. From above, from inside, from angles no camera should reach. "They're watching me," he said. "They've been watching since before you moved in," Alira replied. "They wanted to see if your memory would stay gone. And now?" "Now they'll send people," she said. "Real people." She typed something into a console. A wall opened, revealing weapons, tools, and files. Jack picked up a file marked with his name. Inside were government seals, project codes, brain, scan images, and a contract signed by him, but he had no memory of ever signing it. "Project Hollow Thread," he read aloud. "It was secret," Alira said. "A joint experiment between Earth's defense labs and an alien race. They wanted to turn memory into a weapon. You were their test subject." Jack sat down, his head spinning. "I was a weapon," he said quietly. Alira nodded. "And then you chose to forget. You said, if they can use memory to control us, then you would rather lose it than let them win." Jack looked up at her. "Then why bring me back?" "Because the others are waking up too," she said. "And they need someone to lead them." Suddenly, the tunnel lights blinked red. An alarm buzzed softly. Alira turned to the screens. 2 black cars were outside Jack's house, men in suits. Stepped out, no badges, no lights, just silence. "They're not police," Jack said. "No," Alira replied. "They're from a private unit, paid to keep secrets." One of the men looked directly at a drone camera and gave a small nod. The feed went black. Alira walked over to a box and handed Jack a small earpiece. "This will connect you to the others," she said. "What others?" "People like you," she said. "Those who broke free or are trying to." Jack put the earpiece in static then. A voice, faint but clear. "Subject 9. You're not alone." Alira looked at him with hope in her eyes. "You're part of something bigger than just one memory," she said. "You're the key to unlocking all of them." Jack stood. Stronger now. His fear had turned into something else, purpose. The notebook in his hand wasn't just full of notes. It was a map, a plan, maybe even a weapon. Suddenly, one of the screens blinked to life again. A new face appeared, a man in a black uniform with cold eyes. He looked straight into the camera. "Jack Miller," he said. "You were warned." Jack stepped forward, staring at the man's face. Something about him felt familiar, the way he spoke, the way he looked. Then he realized he was the man from the photo, the one with the face scratched out. "Alira," Jack said. "That's him, isn't it?" She nodded slowly. "He was your best friend," she said, "and your worst mistake." The man on the screen smiled. "You can run, Jack," he said, "but your memories will always find you." The screen turned black again. Jack clenched his fist. Alira placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have a choice," she said. "Hide again, or lead the others." Jack took a deep breath. His answer was clear now. He turned to the wall and opened the next hidden panel. Inside were coordinates, an old key, and a photo of a place he had never seen, yet felt drawn to. "It's time," he said, and above them, in the quiet woods, a satellite dish hidden in the trees turned toward the stars. She's not the only one. The train station was empty. Not a single soul in sight. Only a cold wind blowing through cracked windows and broken signs. Jack stood at the edge of the platform, holding the notebook, the key, and a question that wouldn't leave his mind. If Alira was telling the truth, then who else was out there? Who else had been erased, rewired, and reborn without knowing? The coordinates led them here. A forgotten station beneath the mountains, hidden from satellites and modern maps. Alira walked beside him in silence, eyes scanning every shadow. She seemed nervous more than before. "There's something you're not telling me," Jack said. Alira paused, then looked at him. "This is where we first found the others," she said, "before everything fell apart." The metal doors creaked as they pushed them open. Inside was a large underground room, dark, quiet, and filled with dust. But as Jack stepped forward, small lights flickered on. Rows of metal capsules lined the walls, each one shaped like a coffin. "What are these?" he asked. Alira didn't answer. She walked to the nearest capsule and wiped the dust from its glass. Inside was a woman, still, peaceful, asleep. A soft light pulsed under her skin, just like Jack's. "She's like you," Alira whispered. "There are 13 of you, scattered across the world." Jack stared at the sleeping face. She looked human, but something about her felt powerful. He turned to Alira. "Why are they sleeping?" "Because waking up hurts," she said. "Because remembering everything at once can break the mind." Jack placed his hand on the capsule. He felt a pulse, like a heartbeat matching his own. Suddenly, the capsule beeped. A light turned green, and the woman inside opened her eyes, silver, just like Alira's. Just like Jack's had briefly flashed, she gasped, then sat up quickly, staring at Jack. "You're late," she said. Her voice was calm but cold. "You were supposed to wake us 2 years ago." Jack stepped back, confused. "I don't even know who I am yet," he said. The woman tilted her head, studying him. "Then they took more from you than we thought," she replied. "Do you remember New Europa?" Jack's mind shook. He didn't know what it meant, but his chest burned at the sound of those words. A flash, him standing on a metal bridge. Stars above, a war below. He gasped, falling to one knee. The woman stepped out of the capsule and helped him up. "My name is Vera," she said. "I was your second in command." Alira stepped forward. "We need to wake the others," she said. "Time is running out." Vera walked to the next capsule, placing her hand on a scanner. One by one, more lights turned green. Inside each pod, humans, altered, sleeping. Waiting, Jack watched as the room slowly filled with breathing. Waking people. They all looked at him, some with confusion, some with fear. But all of them knew his name. "Commander Miller," said a man with a scar down his face. "You're alive." Jack didn't know what to say. He barely knew who he was. But something inside him stood taller. A fire was building again. "They erased everything," he said. "They made me forget all of you." "Then it's time to take it back," Vera said. "Time to remember what we fought for." Suddenly, the lights in the station dimmed. A voice echoed through the walls, robotic and broken. "Unauthorized memory cluster detected. Protocol Alpha 9. Total erasure initiated." Alira's eyes widened. "They found the station," she said. Vera turned to Jack. "We have 3 minutes," she said. "Choose, do we fight or do we run?" Jack looked at the group. These people trusted him, even without knowing what he remembered. He couldn't leave them. He couldn't let them be erased again. "No more running," he said. He turned to Alira. "Give me the trigger." Alira opened a small box and handed him a device. Jack pressed it. All the capsules began to unlock. Steam hissing into the air. People stepped out, ready or not. The station shook, explosives above them, or maybe drills, whatever was coming. It wasn't coming to talk. It was coming to clean up, to erase history. Again. But this time, Jack was awake. Asterisk. The human mind isn't meant to break and rebuild itself. But Jack's was doing exactly that, one memory at a time, one truth after another, and it hurt. As the others prepared for escape, Jack stood alone in a dark hallway deep under the station. His hand rested on a wall of ancient glass. Behind it, dozens of old blueprints, journals, and video logs. This place wasn't just a shelter, it was a lab. His lab. He stared at a dusty monitor. A blinking cursor flashed on the screen. He tapped the keyboard without thinking. It came back to life. A file opened by itself, titled Experiment, Subject 9. His photo appeared, younger, sharper, eyes full of fire underneath. The words, Primary, Jack Miller, co-lead of Project Mindfall, Objective, Store, Rewrite, and Weaponize Memory. Jack stepped back. "Alira," he whispered. She appeared behind him, silent. "You knew," he said, voice cold. "You knew all of this." She nodded, eyes full of guilt. "I had to wait until you were ready." She said, "You weren't just a soldier, Jack. You were the scientist who built the memory wipe tech. You tested it on yourself." Jack stared at her like she was a stranger. "I created the thing that erased me," he said slowly. "Why would I do that?" "Because you were Afraid, Elira said. Not of death, but of what you had discovered. There were memories inside you, ancient ones, not human. You believed they were put there by something. Older than both our species. Jack turned back to the screen. More files opened on their own recordings of his voice. In one, he sounded panicked. Desperate, we opened something. It's not just memory, it's a map. And we're the key. Jack rubbed his face. Everything felt too big, too fast. Vera entered the room, holding one of the awakened soldiers, injured but breathing. They've breached the tunnels, she said. We have maybe 10 minutes before they burn this place down. Jack looked at the others, people he once knew, now looking to him for leadership. But he wasn't sure he could even trust himself. What if I'm the reason this all went wrong? He asked. Vera shook her head. You're the reason we're still alive, she said. Don't forget that. Elira handed him a small chip. It glowed softly. This contains your last full memory stream, she said. If you plug it in, you'll know everything, your real mission, the danger, the reason you wiped yourself. Jack stared at the chip. Fear gripped him. What if he saw something he couldn't handle? What if he remembered he was the villain, but he also knew running from the truth hadn't saved anyone? He walked over to the memory chair in the corner of the room. Dust covered the seat. Cables lay tangled on the floor. He sat down, breathing slowly. Elira plugged in the chip. Lights flickered. Machines buzzed, then black. A flood of images hit him. Stars, war zones, a creature made of light. A giant structure floating beyond Saturn. Whispers in a language no human had ever spoken. And in the middle of it all, himself, standing before an alien intelligence, offering it his mind, willingly. Jack gasped as he came back, eyes wide, hands shaking. He looked at Elira. They weren't just studying us, he said. They were using us to store their knowledge. And we helped them, she said. You said it was the only way to survive extinction. Jack stood up, stronger now. No more secrets, he said. If we're going to fight what's coming, we have to remember everything. An explosion rocked the tunnel, dust falling from the ceiling. Sirens screamed in the distance. Vera shouted from the hallway. They're inside. Jack turned to Elira. Is there another way out? She nodded. There's one through the zero chamber. Jack looked at the broken ceiling. This ends today, he said. Not with a fight, but with the truth. As they ran toward the exit, the last monitor flickered. A face appeared. The same man from before, the one who betrayed him. He smiled. You opened the door, Jack. Now let's see if you're ready for what walks through it. The final choice. The stars were moving. Not slowly, not like they do in the night sky, but fast, like they were alive. Jack stood in the center of the zero chamber. Above him, the roof had opened, revealing space raw, infinite, and glowing. With strange colors. It wasn't the sky. It was something else. The room pulsed with energy. Symbols on the walls lit up one by one. It felt like standing inside a heart that had just started beating after 1,000 years. Behind him, Elira and Vera were sealing the doors. The agents had breached the lower levels. They didn't have much time. In front of Jack was the machine, ancient, beautiful, and humming with power. It looked almost human-made, but parts of it floated in the air, disconnected from gravity. This was the last piece, the last part of the memory map. It was waiting for him. This is it, Elira said, walking closer. You can upload your memory back into the collective. And if I do? Jack asked. Every altered human across Earth will wake up, she replied. They'll remember who they are, who we were. Jack looked at the control core. It was glowing, pulsing like a heartbeat, but something felt wrong. What aren't you telling me? He asked. Vera looked down. If you connect, she said, the system may overwrite you. You'll become the memory, not the man. Jack froze. If I do this, I die? Your body might survive, Elira said softly. But you, Jack Miller, might not. Jack stepped back. His mind raced. All of this, the war, the erasure, the buried memories, it all came down to this choice. To give everything, or stay safe and lose the chance to free everyone else. Behind them, an explosion shook the room. The agents were inside. Bullets echoed through the halls. They were out of time. Alira grabbed his hand. "Jack," she said, "you asked why they chose you. It's because you were never afraid to give yourself for others." He looked at her one last time, then at Vera, at the awakened teen behind the blast doors. People like him lost, hunted, erased. He smiled, a small, tired smile. "I remember now," he said. Jack walked to the machine, placed his hand on the core. It glowed brighter. A wave of light rushed through the room. The walls shook, machines buzzed, and then silence. Jack's body stood still. His eyes glowed silver. His chest rose and fell slowly. Then he opened his eyes. But it wasn't just Jack anymore. It was all of them, all the lost memories, all the buried truths, all the lives stolen by fear and control. Outside, across the world, people stopped in their tracks, eyes wide, hearts racing. They remembered, all at once. The agents in the tunnels dropped their weapons. Confused, stunned, one of them fell to his knees, crying. "I remember my wife," he whispered. "I remember the stars." Back in the chamber, Alira looked at Jack, or the version of him that now carried millions of voices. "Is he still in there?" she asked quietly. Jack turned to her, smiled again, this time warmer. "I'm still me," he said, "but I'm also us." Vera walked forward. "What now?" she asked. Jack looked at the open sky above. The stars were still moving, still watching, still waiting. "Now," he said, "we wake the universe." And above them, one by one, the stars began to blink back.